Welcome one, welcome all, and welcome to an honest review of 2017's Get Out. There's going to be some spoilers ahead, so you have been warned.
Cheers, Con. Kofi, why don't you take a crack at telling us what this film's about, mate?
Absolute sudden decision, but it's a film about Daniel Kaluuya, who plays Chris, and his girlfriend, and they finally get to that point of the relationship where he has to meet her parents, and she takes him there for a weekend. It does get into a pretty big twist that I'm sure we'll talk about over the course of the review, but it's a very, I guess, racially aware movie that delves into a lot of race issues while also being very metaphorical and still funny at the same time.
I said tell us about the film, but you got it completely wrong.
Okay, go ahead, please. Help me out.
This film's actually about just how trash white people are.
Facts.
Just how they'll literally just colonise everything. This film's just about how white people aren't content with the damage that they've already done historically. So now they're colonising black people's bodies as well.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so Daniel Kaluuya's character's Chris. He goes around to the parents' house of his girlfriend Rose. The story delves deeper and deeper throughout the film. It'll be quite hard to talk about it as a review without revealing the twist quite early on.
Yeah, true.
So, what is the twist?
We find out that the white people have been harbouring a deep, dark secret that their son is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion.
What the hell happened to Connor there? He turned into a fucking F1 car?
Oh, fuck's sake.
That's what this film was about, right? There was a guy that ran really fast, and there was a jiu-jitsu champion. Oh, and a blind guy that really likes art.
Yes, that is also true. We learned that, I think the grandfather of this family found the methods to be able to extract, a person's brain and put it into another person's body, and they decided to take rich white people's brains who had purchased the bodies of black people because they're perceived to be stronger or faster, or they've got, there's even parts where they reference how better at sex they are compared to white people.
Kofi, you absolute anaconda.
Can confirm.
His anaconda don't want none.
If they were paying by the inch, I bet no wonder they got to be rich.
That's a very fair point.
Paying by the foot, you'll still have to fork out. But yeah, you have got that art dealer guy that you mentioned, because it's Chris is a photographer, so this ironically blind art dealer has works of art described to him. He buys Chris effectively, and he wants to have his brain put in Chris's body so he can have his eyes, literally and metaphorically. But yeah, I just love the way that the film gradually sort of puts the plot out in sort of little hints here and there, either from the dialogue or through there's so much fucking symbolism scattered about this film.
It's constant, isn't it? It's really, really good.
I really like this film, and I liked it mainly for all the foreshadowing and all the kind of symbolism throughout. All the cars they pull up in are it's like a row of black cars, or the daughter separates her white milk from her coloured cereal, and there's little nods throughout.
Yeah, even some sort of subtle hints in the dialogue early on when Chris first meets the dad, and they're sort of having a little tour of the house, and the dad's oh yeah, we had to seal the basement off, there's some black mold down there. He highlights the word black and then quickly moves the conversation on, even when it does throw little bits towards you, symbol wise or dialogue wise, that lead towards the twist. I think that the twist is still done really, really well with the photographs. For the whole film, the only person who looks like they've got any kind of care for Chris is Rose. So when you see the photo album and she's in on it as well, it's just a big what the fuck moment, and I thought it was really well executed.
They go downstairs, don't they? And he's Rose, give me the keys, we have to go. And she's searching for a bag, all panicky, and then she switches instantly, and you're fucking hell, she's in on everything.
Yeah, it's the way she's just I can't do that, Chris.
Yeah, man.
I like the way in the film as well they wove in a lot of comedy elements to it, but the film still felt very serious.
It's so weird that, because what's his best friend, Rod,
yeah,
every single interaction with him is it is proper funny, but it doesn't take away from the seriousness of the film at all.
I think it kind of like helps to break it. I think if it didn't have that, it would have been quite like heavy throughout, but where you've got them like moments of him being funny in there, it kind of helps just break that tension that's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, because, no pun intended, it is like a black comedy and like a satire, emphasising how the white ruling rich classes view sort of the poorer African-American classes.
I guess so, yeah. I think it highlights the other way around as well, the way like Chris, who's like, he's not oblivious to all the race issues, but he's kind of like, I just want to live, I don't want to make it a huge deal. And Rod is like, do not visit that white woman's parents' house, something's going to go bad. Honestly, like, that's pretty typical with black people in general. It's like, don't go to old white people, they will fuck you up. That's exactly what happens in the film. That's obviously Jordan Peele's, not life story, is what's happened during his life. He's trying to, I think he put his experiences through this film in loads of different metaphors. The way that, like, when Chris is at the party, you know, loads of people are coming over and saying, like, oh, what nice hair and nice skin you have, and touching him and stuff. We think it's a bit playful and they're just being friendly, and obviously you find out later that what they're really doing is, like, testing him. One of them is hopefully going to become him, and they're trying to find out what it will be like.
Yeah, they're, like, groping him, aren't they? Almost, like, feeling... Like, there's one woman who, like, feels how strong he is and stuff, like, grabbing his muscles. I think the way it was done is actually really good, because even as like a white male, like, this film makes you kind of feel that through
absolutely.
Chris. Mm-hmm. So you kind of feel the awkwardness of it, and you feel like how victimized he's being and singled out, and it's just done really, really well, almost like a statement piece.
It definitely was. I think I read that he wrote it quite a while ago and then was like, oh, I don't want to release it right now because it's not the right time. Black Lives Matter started to come about. He was like, this is now my time to release it because of all the obvious stuff in the media, so I need to get my message across right now. There's no better time for it. And then I think that was a bit of a catalyst to more race issues being talked about.
Ultimately, unbelievable if he's managed to do that for a piece of film, right? And that be the catalyst for people to openly have conversations about these things. And, like, you know, even us sitting here now discussing it, and you kind of saying, Kofi, about lived experience and you know how certain people act in certain ways, like, we wouldn't be having that chat without this film, right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of obvious symbolism, but there's also quite subtle ones as well, like the Sunken Place.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
shit,
like
I haven't even spoke about the Sunken Place yet. So, like, it's like one of the main, probably the main metaphor of the whole fucking film.
Because what happens, his girlfriend's mother is a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, and she gets him to talk about his problems, eventually hypnotizing him and sending him into, like, a dark place inside himself.
Sinks into his sort of, like, subconscious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it has, like, a meaning in the film as well, because they do this procedure where they take someone's brain out of someone's body and put it into, like, an African-American, like, host. The conscious of the body originally, so say Chris in this scenario, Chris's conscience will be, like, in the back of the mind.
Yeah, so he can still watch.
Yeah, so he can still, like, see outwards, but he has no control over muscles or anything like that. So it has, like, a function in the film in terms of that plot. The function of it as the metaphor, I think Jordan Peele went down for that kind of entrapment sort of side of things, where, you know, a lot of people feel like they're in that sunken place very often, just not having much ability to physically make a change to the world. They're just sort of stuck.
Just completely watching your own reality, but having no control over it. The amazing thing as well is who Jordan Peele is, and he's been able to create something like this. I know him purely from, like, a comedy sketch world, right? So
yeah, of course.
clearly his talent is in, like, comedy, and to then put something so, like, poignant together like this is credit to him, really,
it's a huge credit to him. I think, like, it kind of shows in Rod a bit of his attitude as well, the way Jordan Peele himself focuses mainly on comedy, but in the background there's a lot of deep-seated issues from him being a different race. He explains it really well in the film, but he also uses Rod as a little version of himself, because he knows there's some issues, but he still skirts around them by being funny about it.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
Plus, it's like, it is actually a pretty creepy film. It's got jump scares in it. It's got really good suspense that leads up well. All of the score was obviously intentionally chosen at specific points, and it's also got, like, comedy in it where it needs to have it. It's got a really good story to tell, and it makes you feel it instead of just watching it.
That's what a fucking statement that is. It's so true as well. And it did like capture the minds of a lot of people in the world. Like when this came out, it was the ideal time for this film. The script, which we've spoke about in terms of how great the fucking screenplay is, got Jordan Peele an Oscar, and he became the first African-American recipient of that award. So it really pushed the boundary, not just for horror cinema, when horror at the time was the same possession type film or a remake of something. This actually made a horror film mean something.
One thing I want to bring up, which might be like confusing, because I think it is a bit confusing to me in the first place, like the phrase African American is a bit weird, like unintentionally, and I think if Jordan Peele knew people were watching it and using that phrase, he'd try and tell them not to, because like I think it pushes the choice of race, like language, further into being derogatory. A Chinese person living in America, they wouldn't be known as an Asian American, they'd just be known as Asian.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that. Yeah,
it's not like meant in a bad way or anything, I just think it comes across as a bad way, whereas I would rather just say black. Phrases in race or about race in general can be very confusing, and some people would be happy with African American, some people wouldn't be happy with it, and some people would be happy with black or coloured and things like that. And I think that in general, having discussions with people about it will get people to understand a bit more. You can offend anyone with anything. The only way to go about it is to speak like we are right now.
Even talking about this film and its themes has got that conversation out of us, you know? And it's incredibly interesting hearing people's perspectives from all walks of life, you know what I mean? Like, we've known each other for years, but it's like very rarely do we speak about topics like this, you know? Exactly. I think that this film definitely will have got thousands of people having similar conversations, and Jordan Peele can hold his head high and go, I've made a quirky little horror film with a cool little plot, but I've made it mean something to every person involved watching it.
And all of this from a fucking comedian.
Yeah. Well played,
I think
Jordan,
that's the maddest part.
I nearly said something horrific. So listen.
Subscribe or you're racist.
We've got them on the run now, lads. 500k club, here we come.
Subscribe if you're African American.
Or if you're not, but you feel some kind of way about it.
But either way, enjoy Unleash the Ghouls content every single Friday with honest reviews, every single Tuesday with something random. That was our honest review of 2017's Get Out and join us twice a week for more Unleash the Ghouls content. Cheers, everyone, from every race, from everywhere.